Hello beautiful people, welcome to my channel. My name is Teresa and I am your cruise director on the Magical Mystery Tour. Today we have got our Huda palette rankings. We have done 17 days this month of a different eye look from each palette. I had thought maybe that she would release a new one around now. Thank God she didn't, because it would have thrown out what I was doing, because the days worked out perfectly. So before we get to it, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, ring the notification bell to be alerted to any new uploads. And if you like this video at the end, please give it a big thumbs up. Let's go see how we fared. Okay, so we had 17 days this month, 17 palettes that I created looks with, from her 9-pan ones up to her 18-pan ones. And this sort of reintroduced me to the brand. It's been a little while since I've pulled out some of her palettes. Now just remember, this is my personal preference for playing in the palettes at the time. Some really changed where they ended up sitting in how I thought that they would be, because I went into this really thinking I knew where every palette was, and some went right up and some dropped right down. Again, we don't all have to agree. If you have some of these palettes that rank much higher than mine or that rank much lower, that is fine, because that is your personal preference. So at number 17 we have the Pastels Mint. This, I mean, we know I love a green shade, right? There's not enough depth. It's even using these shades here, we're just left very green. And it really does need, if you can see how dark this brown is in this swirly colour, it comes out green, but something with a bit of depth like that would have worked out well. I feel like I'm missing something. These ones that don't have depth always make me feel like I'm missing a colour. They're not particularly fantastic at blending either. There's just something missing in those palettes. So next up at number 16 we have Pastel Lilac. Again, we have the same issue in that there's not a huge amount of depth in this palette. You know, we're looking at this, I think you're sort of better off sticking around here and keeping it fairly neutral and then bringing in something else. This shade is gorgeous, but it also does sort of crease on there. Again, the quality is not up to standard on these. Now, funnily enough, the last one out of the 3 pastels ranks much, much higher. So it's just, I think it's lacking, and I think this would form part of a bigger palette much better. Going into a better quality 9-pan now, and the one that really actually got me into the brand, and that is the Nude Obsessions, and this is Nude Light. We do have a bit more depth here, but I used to love this, and all of these pans have dips, like significant dips in them. But as time has gone on, I've found again, when I do my makeup with this, it's an okay, I feel like it's an okay look, but I just feel like it doesn't have that little bit extra that I need. I think if I had added this to, I just think I need a richer brown in it. It's really pretty, don't get me wrong, just doesn't rank as high as the others. Next up we have the Nude Medium, and we are back to back with these palettes. This is probably a bit too monochromatic for my liking. Obviously the Nude Light, Nude Medium and Nude Dark are really specifically designed for the different colour tones in your skin, so fair, medium and dark skin tone, and designed for it. I have all 3 and you can pretty much work with all 3, but this one, I think now there's like 1,000 palettes out that are similar to this. And you can't get much variation on your looks. It's a really nice look, but you can't get much variation on it, which is why. Which leads us into the final one of the 3, and that is the Nude Rich. This I do like. I really do like the colours, and the rest I really like as well. But again, I think with these colour stories in some of these 9 pans, they're too similar, and that's the only problem with it. These would give me a really deep dramatic look, but again, not too much variation on it. These shimmers are all very, very similar in tone. Which leads us into our first 18 pan palette. I really like this look, but I do think this palette has probably had its day. It's a really pretty look. It is the new Nude. As I said when I filmed the look for this is my second palette of this. And when it came out, we all lost our minds on it. What a beautiful, beautiful colour story. And even now, these colours, like, they're still really nice. It's got the concealer in it that you could use as your base. Back then, we were into our glitters. Not so much now. I just think that it's had its day, and innovation has changed in palettes. Really nice look, but I prefer everything else that we've got coming up. At number 11, these palettes are mixed up. At number 11, it's a 9 pan. It is the Chocolate Brown palette. This is a really nice, warm, rich palette, and I really like this lavary colour. It's got depth. When I've been complaining about not having depth, this is what I mean, in that we've got lighter colours here. I would actually like probably something just a smidgen lighter there, but we've got these great deep rich colours in there. I really like the look that I created out of this. A lot of depth to it, and you could get the most intense smoky eye out of it. It's a gorgeous little palette. So we have the top 10 now. None of these palettes are, look, to be quite honest, the only two palettes that I'm not particularly a fan of are the Mint and Lilac Pastel Obsessions. The rest I like, but we've got to rank them, people. So another brown palette, and it is the Toffee Brown. I mean, this is more suitable for my colouring. This really does something to my eyes. This mustardy colour and this warm colour here really make, I've got hazel eyes, and it really draws out the gold in it along with this real gold shimmer. I love the colour story in this. Is the quality as good as the 18 pans? Absolutely not. But the colour story and the quality is better than a lot on the market. It's workable. It's not quite up there with her other palettes. Number 9, we have the Wild palette. These had this shifty cover. The Wild Chameleon. We're getting into some colour. This, I really enjoyed the bit of colour that you get from it. Oranges and purples and the burgundies, these all go really, really well together. This colour though, if you are absolutely piling that on your lid, which why wouldn't you, is prone to creasing. Just something to be aware of. You are quite limited in your looks, like let's cover that, and that's where we're sitting there. And then you can really only go between these sort of two to add a pop of colour. But that being said, the look that you get out of it, when you do it, you think it's going to be too intense, and it's actually not. Once you put your mascara on, it's a really pretty look. Again, not quite up to the quality of the 18 pans. And speaking of 18 pans, at number 8, we have the Empowered palette. This is a really, we've got a little bit of cool tone up in this area here, but we're playing mostly around the warmer areas. We've got these amazing pops of gold. We've got sort of bronzy, champagne-y. The issue that I have with this one, which was it was a powder with a river of some weird gel between it, has really dried out. This is starting to dry out a little bit, but that I really don't like how that has gone. Like, it's still got the gel in there, but we don't need those particular types of colours. It's a really nice warm palette though. I just stick away from that because that's just going to crease and not do much. But if you like a bit of gold, if you like a bit of burgundy, you know, the shimmers in here allow you to play. Like, look at how jewelly they are. They are rich antique jewelly tones. It's a really nice warm palette. I just prefer the others that we've got. Another 18 palette at number 7 is Naughty Nude. So this is sort of the nude palette's grown up big sister. Ignore this shade, Slippery. This is one of those Petri dish shades. It's drying out, thank God. Don't like it, don't care about it. But we've got a mix of, we're going into these rosy tones that Huda really likes. So you can create this quad here, creates a beautiful rosy look. You've got real warmth here in this. Then we're going into some burgundies here. So you've got a really nice colour story range. This one here has got that really nice bluey brown shift to it. So if you want a duochrome, she's a sexy little palette. And as I said, the grown-up sister to the new nude. Okay, so we are down to the final 6. And we have 3 9 pans and 3 18 pan palettes. So at number 6, we have the last of the pastels, which is the Pastel Rose. A lot of people hated these palettes, as I mentioned. What I discovered when I played in this, here I was talking about a lack of depth in palettes, and this is one that has a lack of depth. But what it has going for it is it's quite neutral here. And then we've got these beautiful spring colours. I absolutely loved the look that I created out of this with this yellow and this over the top of it. With the pink, it's just gorgeous. And it is such a fun spring little palette. I have used this since then and I will use it all through spring and summer, I think. It's not as good quality as the 18 pan ones, but this is just a really fun, soft, romantic, flirty little palette. She's pretty. It's a shame. I'd love to have seen this, something along these lines, in a larger palette in the Italian formula with a bit more depth to it. Would have been beautiful. Another 9 pan palette. We are into the Wild palettes that I had. Here's another with a shifty front to it. This is the Wild Python greens. Greens going to be up there. This saving grace on it is it has these 3 really, you know, we're in the browns, neutral. It allows you to pull it back. But then we've got these absolute bangers of shimmers that we can play in. Look at that. Gives you a bit of colour. It allows you, this one in particular, you know, that's got the shift to it as well. So it's really nice to create this around your mattes and depth and then add a pop of colour to it. These have all got dents in them. I have a lot of fun with that one just to bring in a bit of colour to it. A lot of Huda's palettes are so very, very safe. So that is number 5. Number 4, we're getting into the more traditional palettes. We have Rose Quartz. Mine has seen a lot of wear. This is such a beautiful palette. The colour story in this is quite cool. So we've got this bit of warmth up here, which pulls it back into that real neutral territory. But you can see the rest of this. This is super cool toned here. We've got a pop of pink. These are duochromes, as is that. We've got that horrible gel formula again. Please stop doing it. But this is, even this matte, this is, like, look at that. You could do this just through your crease, outer corner, and that all over the lid. It'd look beautiful. This is a really nice, soft, sort of whimsical palette. It's a really, really popular palette for a reason, and which is why she's ranking at number 4. I thought this was going to be my number 1. Funnily enough, it is my most used palette for sure out of them. At number 3, we have the Mercury Retrograde palette with Huda on the front. This still ranks number 1 on a lot of people's palette rankings with this. This is discontinued, and I'm really, really surprised because I'm sure this would have been a number 1 seller. Why she's discontinued it, I don't know. It is an old palette now, but it's a gorgeous palette. Just covering that row for a second. Like, she's pretty safe to look. And then you've got these gorgeous pops of colour. These are absolute bangers, these shimmers. Like, they are just stunning, absolutely stunning to give you a pop of colour. I don't know why she discontinued it, because it is gorgeous. I love this palette, and this is one that I want to pull out more for coming up to summer. But we are down to the final two. And funnily enough, in all of Huda's formula, she keeps it pretty safe. As you've seen, there's a lot of those rosy tones with an occasional pop of colour. It's soft, it's a bit romantic. My top two are neither of those things. So we have the 9-pan Wild Jaguar. This is a 9-pan that is ranking at number 2. This is my favourite, quite clearly, out of all of her 9-pans. Look at it. She is a moody palette. We've got a black, we've got a super light beige, we've got a semi-warm, well, that's a pretty neutral brown, and then we've got that super cool tone taupe up in the top center, and then these shimmers. This, you can go in with these two, with a little bit of this over there, and you're going to be pretty safe. You can just use those, keep it safe. Then we're starting to get into these shimmers, and you can create a really nice smoky eye with it, with some tonality. Like, these shimmers, I just love. It's gorgeous. It is gorgeous. I wish she would do more like these, something with a bit of depth. The only downfall on that is, again, it is, oh, there's shimmer all over that, is, again, it is not up to her Italian formula. I get why she does it. These palettes don't generally tend to stick around a long time. However, I do believe that is still available. But we are at the number 1, and I think you can guess what it is. I've done a few looks on my channel with this, and it is the Pretty Grunge, which is her most recent one. And I know we get caught up in the new palettes and the most recent one, and we start to use it and we're a bit excited, but that's not why I love this. I love this because I love a smoky eye. This has got a gel in it that you can use to create a primer for your eye to get some real depth to it. You've got the black, you've got some burgundies, you've got these amazing shimmers. Look at them. That is cool tone goodness. It's steely, it's still pretty neutral. Then you've got this up here, which can keep it pretty light. So if you stick around this little area here and then add that, you've got a pretty safe neutral eye. There's so many different looks that you can get here. You could take this away on holiday. I'll tilt that way because that's got my mitts all over it. But, you know, if you're playing in this area here, that's a pretty safe look, these ones. And then adding that. Then once you get into these colors, you can really make something incredible. We've got these multi-tonal shimmers that are happening, and these two shimmers here are my absolute favorite. I'm just trying to clean off my hand. I may have to swap fingers, I think. So we have got the shade Maverick and the shade Rebel. Not Rebel, Rebel. Look at them. This is multi-dimensional in, let's get on to that, has little bits of pink and rose into that silver. This is a really versatile palette. You can create a pretty look and you can create a grunge look. You can create a matte 90s dream out of this, sticking into those matte colours. It's really versatile. It's not as intimidating as it looks. Like, it is pretty neutral and it does look pretty dark, but in actual fact, it's not. Like, that looks like a Bobbi Brown palette there. These 6 colours absolutely looks like a Bobbi Brown. So then you get into this moodiness. Like, look at the depth in that. That looks scary if you're not used to using depth. That looks super safe. This is the best of both worlds. So that is it, my friends. This is my palette ranking. I love this. Let me know if you've got any or all of these, what is your favourite Huda palette below and why, what you like about it. As I said, that I like because of the versatility to it, even though it's quite monochromatic. I am covered now. Look at my hands. I've got glitter everywhere. Who would you like to see next in a palette rankings? Is there anyone that in particular that you would like? I have a lot happening behind me if I've got enough to do. I have got my next one planned, and it's just going to be weekends. Possibly weekends. There'll only be 2 extra palettes a week to get through the ones that I've got. But I'd like to hear what you would be interested in seeing. Until next time, my friends, don't forget to tell your mum, tell your sister, tell your friends. Come along, hang out. Come tell me about yourself. Yeah, I've got to go out in the rain now. Wish me luck. I'm melting. Until next time, take care. Bye.